Hi, welcome to Arkintel. Imagine this, a product so divisive that it was laughed at the moment it hit the shelves. Fashion critics sneered, calling it hideous. Customers chuckled, shaking their heads, wondering who would ever wear something so ridiculous. Now imagine that the same product doesn't just survive, but it thrives. It becomes a global icon, found everywhere, from hospital corridors to high fashion runways. It transforms industries, sparks debates, and somehow amasses billions of dollars in sales. You've probably seen it, maybe even worn it. Bright, clunky, and undeniably ugly. Yes, we are talking about Crocs. How did a shoe, once called the worst invention in fashion history, rise to become one of the most talked about and bought products in the world? What started as a quirky idea on a Caribbean sailboat turned into a cultural phenomenon. A shoe mocked by millions transformed into a billion-dollar empire. This is the untold story of Crocs, the shoe that proved the world wrong. In 2002, Lyndon Hansen was facing the worst year of his life. His career had hit a dead end, his marriage had fallen apart, and he was mourning the loss of his mother. With nowhere else to go, Lyndon found himself sleeping on a friend's couch, grappling with feelings of failure and uncertainty. Two of his closest friends, George Bodecker and Scott Siemens, decided Lyndon needed an escape, a break from reality. They organized a sailing trip through the clear, serene waters of the Caribbean. They hoped the fresh ocean air and open water would give Lyndon some peace. But that trip became much more than just a getaway. Scott Siemens brought along something strange, rubber-like clogs he had discovered on a business trip to Canada. Made from a unique resin developed by Foam Creations, these clogs were water-resistant, odor-proof, and slip-resistant. Scott had added his own backstrap modification to improve the fit, thinking they could be useful on a boat. When Scott first showed the clogs to his friends, they burst out laughing. The shoes were awkward-looking, chunky, and nothing anyone would call stylish. But after wearing them on the slippery boat deck, George and Lyndon couldn't deny the practicality. The clogs were incredibly lightweight, comfortable, and held up well in wet conditions. By the end of the trip, the three friends weren't just convinced, they were inspired. They decided to bring the clogs to market. Despite their strange appearance, the shoes had something special. They named the company Crocs, a nod to the adaptability of crocodiles, creatures that thrive both on land and water. Back home in Boulder, Colorado, the trio got to work. They set up a small office, pooled their savings, and ordered their first shipment of shoes from Foam Creations. But the big question loomed: how do you sell something this ugly? Their first test came at a Florida boat show in 2002. Armed with stacks of Crocs, they set up a booth and stopped passers-by. When people wrinkled their noses at the design, the founders had one simple response: put them on. And it worked. Once people tried them, they were hooked. The clogs were incredibly comfortable and functional, making them perfect for boaters. By the end of the event, they had sold 200 pairs. What surprised them most wasn't just the sales. It was the unexpected interest from workers in other industries. Nurses, chefs, and restaurant staff saw the potential for a shoe that could handle long hours on hard floors. Suddenly, Crocs weren't just for boaters, they were for anyone who valued comfort and utility. Crocs took off faster than the founders could have imagined. By 2003, they had sold an impressive 76,000 pairs. Realizing the value of their unique material, the founders made a bold move. They acquired Foam Creations, securing exclusive rights to Croslite, the reason that made their shoes so distinctive. This ensured that no one could replicate their product. Their sales strategy was just as innovative. Instead of forcing retailers to buy large inventories, Crocs allowed stores to order small quantities, sometimes as few as 24 pairs, and restock as needed. This reduced risk for retailers, making it easier for smaller stores to carry Crocs alongside larger chains. Between 2005 and 2006, Crocs revenue skyrocketed by 226%. By 2006, the company went public, raising $239 million in one of the most successful IPOs in footwear history. Crocs was now valued at over $1 billion. As Crocs became a household name, not everyone was impressed. Fashion critics dismissed them as a passing fad, calling the clogs an unfortunate trend. Consumers either loved them or hated them. There was no middle ground. Internally, the company was dealing with challenges, including erratic behavior from co-founder George Bodecker. While Bodecker had played a key role in Crocs' early success, his actions soon became a liability. In 2006, George was removed from the board after a series of bizarre incidents. One particularly troubling event involved a threatening call to his brother-in-law, followed by a confrontation at his office. Years later, in 2012, George made headlines again when he was stopped by police for drunk driving. He claimed his girlfriend, pop star Taylor Swift, was behind the wheel, a claim that was quickly debunked as no one else was in the car. These scandals left a dark mark on his legacy, and Crocs distanced themselves from him. Meanwhile, the financial crisis of 2008 hit hard. Consumers cut back on spending, and Crocs saw a dramatic drop in sales. The company faced lawsuits over patent violations and accusations of copying earlier designs. Layoffs followed, and critics predicted the company's demise. Despite the setbacks, Crocs wasn't ready to fade away. Between 2008 and 2018, the brand methodically rebuilt itself. One of the most ingenious moves was tapping into the power of personalization. The company acquired Jibbitz, a small business founded by a stay-at-home mom who had created decorative charms that snapped into Crocs' signature holes. These tiny, colorful charms allowed wearers to customize their shoes, making each pair unique and personal. Jibbitz became a gateway to younger audiences, with kids attaching their favorite characters and adults adding quirky symbols that reflected their individuality. Crocs also secured licensing deals with brands like Disney and the NBA, introducing designs featuring beloved characters and team logos. These collaborations helped Crocs stay visible even as they worked to recover from financial struggles. The COVID-19 pandemic marked a turning point for Crocs. As people prioritized comfort over style, the brand's lightweight design and easy fit made it the perfect solution for life at home. Whether working remotely or running errands, Crocs were practical, comfortable, and exactly what people needed. This surge in demand brought Crocs to new heights. By 2021, the company reported $2.3 billion in revenue, with their stock value skyrocketing by 300%. No longer just a quirky trend, Crocs had become a staple for casual wear and everyday utility. Crocs didn't just prove the critics wrong, they redefined what it means to succeed. From a product mocked and dismissed to a global symbol of comfort, individuality, and resilience, Crocs is a reminder that the most unconventional ideas often have the power to change everything. What began as a simple, quirky idea grew into a brand that connects with millions, crossing industries and cultures. Crocs didn't follow trends, they created their own. Their story proves that success isn't about being universally loved. It's about staying true to what makes you unique. Crocs wasn't just a shoe, it became a revolution.